Hello and welcome to a Cup of Grace and Lori podcast. My name is Grace.
And I'm Lori.
This is episode 10 of our podcast. And in today's podcast, Lori is going to take the lead. She wants to talk about Tim Ferriss's The 4-Hour Workweek. So I'm very excited to hear her thoughts on this book. Lori, take it away.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. So glad you could join us. First, before I start, I want to say I didn't even get halfway through the book because I reserved an ebook at Toronto Public Library and I didn't manage to finish it on time. But there were so many points that resonated with me that I think I only read about 40% of the book, and I'm writing notes down, furiously. So and I'm excited about it. So I wanted to share this with you, Grace. And Grace, you have read the book, so that's good. You'll be able to.
So here's the cover. I bought the book several years ago, so here it is. I'm sure everyone's familiar with it. It's been out for a really long time, actually. Time flies.
Yeah,
but I have not. So I read maybe less than half of it so far.
Okay. All right. Well, the first point that really struck me was success can be measured by the number of uncomfortable conversations you're willing to have. So I said to myself, okay, so what are uncomfortable conversations for me? And they usually revolve around money for me. Feeling, especially because I work for myself. I have many conversations about money. Every time
with clients?
Every time I'm engaging with a new client or business, I have to have a conversation about money. And I have been working on my money energy. So they've been improving these conversations. I'm feeling better about them. I'm feeling better about talking about money, but there's still some discomfort there.
Sure.
And it's probably about, am I charging too much? Am I worth what I'm charging? All of these things. Yeah. Am I providing good service? Or, so all of these things come into play. And I need to make sure that before I have these conversations, that I'm grounded in the idea that, yes, I'm providing good service. Yes, I'm providing value to you. Yes, I'm worth it. I almost have to, ground myself in those statements before engaging in a conversation about money, to make sure that I don't undersell myself. Right? Yeah, because that has happened in the past where I've said I would do something for a certain amount. And then what happens is I start to feel resentful as I'm doing it, because I'm like, oh my God, there's a lot of work involved here. Why didn't I charge more for this? And when you're feeling resentment, it clashes with creativity. It clashes with creativity because you're trying to be creative, but then another part of you is feeling resentful that you aren't being paid what you feel you're worth. So this, I thought, was really, it just hit home for me. And as I said, that is the most uncomfortable conversation I have. It's usually to do with money. Now, I'm sure there's other topics as well that are uncomfortable for me, right? But that makes sense. That's the one that struck me first. And so I'll just repeat that. Success can be measured by the number of uncomfortable conversations you're willing to have. So what?
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I'm starting to say, okay, and log how many uncomfortable conversations I've had that day. Did I have 1, 2, whatever?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I found that very powerful.
So mainly it's around money. Mainly it's around money.
For me, but you know what? There's probably other ones. I know there are other ones. That's the one that jumped out at me. it, and so it's the one that needs the work, I guess, because it jumped out immediately. I'm going to, think about it more, and there will be others. I know that there will be other conversations, other topics that are uncomfortable for me, and I'm sure they will present themselves. But because that one jumped out at me, I thought, okay, let me start working on that one and improving my conversations and feeling better about, asking for a certain amount or whatever in return for what I'm providing.
Well, that, what you're mentioning, this is a money mindset, right? This is a wealth mindset you're talking about. And we had we did an episode.
Yes, we did.
Where we talked about our money mindset
Blocks.
and trying to get better at that.
Yes, we did.
It's very important about our own personal beliefs, right? Yeah, like we have
yes.
to believe that we're worthy
yes
of abundance.
Yes.
Financial abundance.
But I guess this gets down to the specifics of, okay, the actual amount you're charging and feeling comfortable with it and feeling that you provide value. So I am working on that, and I'm feeling better about them too. I'm not as timid about them. I'm like, no, I'm gonna say, here's what I can provide, and here's what my fee is. I'm being a little more assertive about it, and I feel better about myself, doing that. So
good.
Thank you, Tim Ferriss.
Is this over phone usually or email?
No, it's usually always email. I very rarely have phone conversations with clients.
Okay. And I would think that would be even easier because you are a writer.
Yeah.
You're a writer. And also, writing out your position, your proposition or proposal, you at least have time.
Yeah.
To write, just properly arrange the words in a way, right?
Yeah.
Whereas on the phone, like, you'd like really be put on the spot, especially when you're feeling kind of insecure about your work.
Oh yeah. No, I don't have those discussions on the phone. But most of the people in my business don't even have phone conversations.
We
just do things by email. So so that was the first thing.
That's a good one.
Yeah. The second point that I found interesting was lack of time is a result of not setting priorities. So,
Okay, good point.
Yeah. And Tim suggests identifying critical tasks for your business and ask yourself 3 times per day, am I being productive or just active or just like busy work? Busy work.
Yeah. Productive and busy are not the same.
Yeah, but I like this stopping and asking yourself 3 times a day, am I just doing busy work or am I doing a critical task towards my business? Interesting. And I've been starting to do this and ask myself that.
How do you prioritize your tasks for a day? Do you write it down? You have a calendar?
Yes, I write everything down. I have a little journal type. I mean, I do have Google Calendar that I use as well, but I also use physical. I write it down in a physical calendar. So another interesting thing he says is do your most important task before 11 a.m.
Yeah, I remember reading that part.
That I'm having trouble with because if I have 10 things to do, I'm the type that likes, and there's several small things. I like to get those small things out of the way so I can say, oh, it's 11 o'clock, but I've already done 5 things.
Okay, sense of accomplishment.
So, right. But he's saying these 5 things might not even be critical to your business, right? Whereas there might be one thing that is critical and I'm not doing it until the afternoon. And my energy is high in the morning and early afternoon. So I'm someone who definitely should, be doing things and the important things in the morning. So I'm going to work on that. But as I said, if I have task that takes me like 2 hours to do versus I have 5 things to do that I can do in an hour or an hour and a half. I like to get those 5 things out of the way. And then I'm like, okay, now I'll focus 2 hours on the, or even two plus hours on the large task. But he's saying, no, do that critical task first, then do those other little tasks. So it's going to be hard for me to do that, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try and do that.
Well, how do you personally determine or personally prioritize your tasks?
Well, I mean,
what is critical to you?
Okay, if I have to write a blog post, that's a critical task to my business.
With a deadline?
I mean, I impose my own deadlines, okay. Right? But
so give me an example of a number of tasks that you would have to do in a day.
I do. Okay,
like,
I do.
Just give me like four tasks.
Sure, I do social media shares. So I share it on my Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. I might have to do a reel for Instagram. You know, I was at an event, so I have to create an Instagram reel. That's
okay. Promotion. This is all promotion.
Right. I have to write a blog post.
Or marketing.
Right.
So blog post, and then you promote or market the blog post.
Yeah, but it's funny you're saying, yeah, I know, when you say promote and market, there's several things involved in that, right? Like, you know, I have to edit my photos, right? And then I have to create an Instagram post. I have to write the post and put in the right hashtags. And if I'm doing a reel, I have to choose the music. And first I have to edit the video using my video editing, and then upload it, add the music, add hashtags. Yeah. So those are time consuming. They are time consuming. But are
they critical? That's what he is emphasizing.
It is critical. It is critical.
But compared to writing the blog post?
Blog post is the most important thing.
Yeah, although, so that goes first.
You know what? Yeah, but the Instagram reel is pretty critical these days. Instagram is really important. So that's kind of neck and neck, maybe 2. I'll put it under 2, Instagram reel. First would be the blog post, second would be the Instagram reel, then third would be sharing it on, you know, Facebook and Twitter. Okay. Those are just samples.
But I don't think, I mean, those steps are important. Yeah. The steps that you mentioned, aside from writing a blog post.
Yeah.
But I don't think that there's necessarily a time constraint, right? Like, you don't have to do these things prior to 11 a.m. necessarily.
Oh, no, right? You're right. Those things don't have to be done before 11. You're right. And the blog post, it doesn't have to be. I can publish it later on the day. But it's better I do feel fresher in the morning and more creative as far as writing.
And you have more energy.
And I have more energy. So yeah, for sure. Writing a blog post in the morning is much better for me. Yeah. I also do a bit of editing on the side. So that would be another, and I do it for clients. So that would be another critical item that I would, you know,
that sounds critical.
Do that in the morning.
So I'm wondering why this particular point, or this particular point of advice from Tim Ferriss stuck out with you, because do you feel like your current system is not efficient enough?
I feel like I leave the important things for the afternoon, because I can do these small things and get 5 or 6 things out of the way in the morning. But then I'm like, but then the afternoon I'm not maybe as creative or energetic
and alert.
So I need to do that in the morning. So that's why it stuck out, because I know I have to work on that one.
Okay.
The third point, I'm going to actually, the fourth point, he says, don't multitask, focus on one activity at a time. And I've heard this from other people as well, because if you multitask, you're scattering your energy. and then you go back to the task, and then you need a few more minutes to find out where you left off, and then continue. So you're wasting energy by switching back and forth. So, and I do multitask. So I need to focus on one
task at a time.
One task at a time. So the next point that I found interesting was, he says, which 20% of people around me produce 80% of my enjoyment? So I have been aware of this for, several years, about making sure that I'm around people who support me and value me and support my goals, etc., make me feel good, right? But I think it was the percentages that really stuck out at me, that 20% of the people around me produce 80% of my enjoyment. That's that old 20-80 rule that I'm sure you've
the
read.
Pareto rule.
Right. 20% of this produces 20% of the top performers produce 80% of the results at work, especially in sales or something like that. So that's what struck me, that 20% of the people around me produce 80% of my enjoyment.
Do you agree with that?
You're one, by the way. You're in my 20%.
I'm one of the 20%?
Yes, you are.
Thank the Lord. Oh, you're definitely in mine.
Well, that's great. Thank you. But isn't that like, I guess it kind of surprises me, doesn't it? Like only 20% produce 80% of your enjoyment? 20%?
No, I think for the most part, I mean, people can have a lot of acquaintances.
Oh, yeah.
But, the real meaningful relationship, real relationships, I think you can just probably count on one hand or less.
Okay.
Right?
So, I see. So around me includes acquaintances and, I see. Okay, I guess I was interpreting it that the people around me were my close friends. And I thought, well, wait a minute. If they're my close friends, then I hope they're producing enjoyment for me, right? And vice versa. It's not a one-way street, but
well, it's all relative, right? I mean, maybe you're really good at only holding close to you in, having a network, just the 20%. Who knows? But like out of those really good, friends, there's probably a 20% within that.
Oh,
You
wow.
know what I mean?
Wow.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought
like,
that
who
was,
are your people? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely, it's about, and I think we talked about, I don't know if we talked about this yet, about having a tribe and,
No, we haven't yet.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a future episode then. So I won't go off on a tangent. Anyway, I'll leave that one, but I did find that interesting. The next point, he says, doing the unrealistic is easier than doing the realistic, because it's lonely at the top, and only 99% of people are only aiming for mediocre standards. So
what does he mean by mediocre standards?
Oh, well, just underwhelming, or just barely acceptable, or acceptable standards. It's only a certain percentage that strive for, excellence. So doing the unrealistic is easier than the realistic. So I guess he's saying another point is to have a large goal. It's tied into his next point about having a large goal. First of all, because a large goal is adrenaline inducing. It excites you. True. If you have a small goal,
you take inspired action.
Yeah. If you have a small goal, you'd be like, yeah, okay, whatever. It's not a big deal to accomplish. And when you accomplish it,
it's not that exciting. Yeah.
But having an unusually large goal is adrenaline inducing. So I think that ties into doing the unrealistic is easier than the realistic because you've got more energy devoted to it. You're excited about it. But also it's a two-pronged reason that he provides. And the second reason is it's because it's lonely at the top. You don't have any competition. You won't have much competition going for an unrealistic goal because most people are striving for just
the status quo.
Yeah. So I thought that was actually fascinating because it's the reverse of what we think. We think, oh my God, I can't go aim for a goal so high that it seems too unrealistic and I won't achieve it, and why bother, and right. But that type of mentality keeps you down at the mediocre. But not only does it keep you down, I mean, it's like there's hardly any competition going for the really large goals.
Yeah,
so,
that makes sense.
Doesn't it?
It takes big dreamers. It takes big dreamers.
Yeah. So
because you're going against the flow.
Right.
That's not easy. Yeah.
He actually says it is easier than being realistic. Doing the unrealistic.
Not the task itself necessarily, but there will be naysayers. There will be people who don't believe in you, and they will try to keep you at their level. Do you know what I'm saying? Those types of challenges will surface.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But
if you have a dream, you're just gonna go for it anyway.
He's just saying you won't have much competition because most people are just aiming. 99% of people are just aiming for status quo.
For sure.
So that really jumped out at me because it's the opposite of kind of what you think, right? You think, for some reason, I think that there would be a lot of competition at the top, but no, he's saying no, not really.
No, because I mean, don't they even say like what the richest people in the world, they only make up what 1% of the population?
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, he says that it's lonely at the top, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So you need that.
Does that sound attractive to you?
No. Not that part. So you need your tribe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The other believers, the other dreamers.
Yeah. He just means when he's saying it's lonely at the top, what he means is that there isn't a crowd of competition that you have to.
It's less crowded. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then finally, and again, I'm only 40% through the book, but he says the most important actions are never comfortable. So that I link that back to the first one, your first point about having uncomfortable conversations. But this is even broader than the conversations. He's like, the most important actions are never comfortable. So So, and I know you've talked about comfort zone yourself, Grace, and getting out of the comfort zone, and doing things that scare us, and whenever I've done something that scared me, I found out that, you know what, my fears, after I did whatever it was, I'm like, my fears overestimated.
Yes.
There wasn't really that much to be afraid of, or if there was, I handled it or whatever, Yeah. The fears are always much greater than what the actual reality is.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. Your ego is just so afraid.
And imagination, coming up with all these dreaded scenarios.
Yeah.
They never happen, right?
Yes. Worst case scenarios.
Yeah. So those are the points that I've, found so far to resonate with me, and I'm going to work on them. Getting out of the comfort zone, work on having the uncomfortable conversations, work on prioritizing my work so that I get the most important things done in the morning. And
I think you're already doing those things.
I'm doing them, but as I said, the morning work I need to work on. I need to work on that one.
But getting out of the comfort zone, for example, you're doing that. You're doing that.
This podcast, although with our podcast, I'm feeling more comfortable with it as we progress from episode to
Yes.
episode. So I wasn't
We'll
in
get better and better.
Yeah,
We'll
I
get
wasn't
more
in the beginning,
confident.
but it's feeling more comfortable. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that's all I have to say about Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Workweek. I'd love to hear if anyone's read it. Please
Mm-hmm.
add a comment on our video. And what do you think about any of these points? Do any of them resonate with you, or do you think, nah, it doesn't make sense, or it wouldn't work for you? I'm really curious to hear what you have to say. So thank you for tuning in, and have a great week, everyone. And we'll see you on the next episode of A Cup of Grace and Lori.
Bye.
Bye.